Today, we're going deep. We're going to explore the very architecture of our minds to look at these invisible forces that are quite literally shaping our financial reality, our relationships, our health, everything. And it all boils down to one thing: our core beliefs. You've probably felt this, right? You're trying so hard to change a habit or shift your mindset. You repeat those positive affirmations, you visualize success, but it just feels like you're slamming into a brick wall. That one deep-seated belief just will not budge. And it's so frustrating, isn't it? You're doing the work, you're saying the sentences, but when you look around, your external reality, your bank account, your career, it's just not changing. This struggle, which is so common, leads us to a really important question. What if the effort isn't the problem at all? What if the target is wrong? See, this is the big idea we're digging into today. Maybe all those affirmations are just polishing the surface, while the real engine, deep down, is running on a completely different program. The keys to real, lasting change, they aren't on the surface. They're actually hidden away in your subconscious, right where your core beliefs live. And in this explainer, we are going to find them. So, to do that, we first need to understand exactly how these powerful beliefs get created, and then we'll explore the different types of beliefs that are secretly controlling our lives from behind the scenes. First up, we'll walk through the step-by-step process of how a belief is even formed. Then, in part 2, we are going to dissect the different layers of our beliefs to see which ones are really holding all the power. Okay, let's start with part 1. Beliefs don't just pop up out of nowhere. They have a very distinct origin story, a kind of evolutionary cycle that takes a simple thought and turns it into what feels like an undeniable truth. So this is the path it takes. It all begins with an initial input, which we then interpret. We reinforce it through repetition, lock it in with some kind of emotion, and then finally, we store it away in the subconscious. Let's break down that first stage. Every single belief you have, whether it's about money, love, or what you think you're capable of, it starts right here. It's just a single event, a piece of information, could be something someone said to you, something you saw, or a personal experience. It's the tiny seed from which everything else grows. Just look at these examples. A single moment of public embarrassment can plant that seed of "I'm not good enough." A simple pleasure, like a great cup of coffee, can spark a lifelong preference. And watching a parent struggle can create a really powerful early impression about money and work. And now we come to the most critical step of all: interpretation. The event itself is totally neutral. It's the story we tell ourselves about it that gives it all its power. Two people can have the exact same experience and walk away with completely opposite beliefs. For instance, that mocked child, they could interpret that event as proof of permanent failure, or as motivation to practice more. Two travelers see the same culture through totally different lenses, and the child watching their father could conclude that hard work doesn't pay, creating a deeply limiting belief about wealth. So once we have our story, our brain naturally wants to prove it's right. This is something called confirmation bias. We start actively looking for evidence that supports our initial story, and we pretty much just ignore anything that contradicts it. So that simple thought starts to feel more and more like a solid fact. So the child who decided public speaking is terrifying sees another kid get embarrassed and thinks, "See, there's the proof." And the person who believes the rich are corrupt, they'll latch onto one single negative news story while ignoring thousands of examples of philanthropy. Every piece of evidence just adds another brick to the wall of that belief. This is the stage where a belief gets locked in, and locked in tight. Emotion, it acts like a powerful glue. It just cements an idea into our subconscious. And the stronger the emotion, whether it's joy, fear, pride, or shame, the deeper that belief gets engraved. Just think about it for a second. That intense feeling of pride from public praise can forge a lifelong belief of "I am smart." That sharp sting of fear or shame from a financial loss can create a permanent belief that investing is just too risky. That feeling of humiliation becomes totally inseparable from the event itself. And finally, after all these stages, the belief, it graduates. It moves out of our conscious mind, where we can debate it, and it sinks down into the subconscious, where it becomes an automatic program. It's no longer just an idea we have. It becomes a fundamental part of who we are. It just feels like the absolute truth. And this is where we really see the results in our daily lives. The person who absorbed the belief that math is hard won't even try to balance a budget as an adult. Why would they? It's a foregone conclusion. On the flip side, someone with the core belief, I'm a social person, walks into a party and just mixes effortlessly without even thinking about it. Their reality is guided by that deep, automatic belief. Okay, so now that we know how beliefs are actually made, let's jump into part 2 and see how they're structured. Because, not all beliefs are created equal. They exist in different layers, and understanding these layers is the real key to creating lasting change. I want you to think of it like an iceberg. On top, you've got the part you can see. Those are the surface beliefs. Just below the water are the conditional beliefs. And then way down at the bottom, hidden and deep, are the massive, powerful core beliefs that are steering the entire thing. Let's start with that deepest layer, core beliefs. These things are the absolute bedrock of your personality. They are the fundamental assumptions you hold about your own identity, about other people, and about how the world works. They are literally the lens through which you see everything. And these are so powerful. A core belief like I'm not worthy, it's going to affect every single area of your life, from the job you think you can get to the partner you choose. A belief that rich people are selfish will subconsciously cause you to sabotage your own efforts to build wealth. But on the other hand, believing the world is full of opportunity opens you up to seeing chances that other people completely miss. And it's their characteristics that make them so powerful. They're foundational, so other beliefs are built right on top of them. They're subconscious, so a lot of the time we don't even know we have them. And they're persistent and self-validating, which means one bad experience can generalize into a rule for your entire life. This is the crucial point right here. Your core beliefs, they're the master code. They are running the show. So if you want to change the output, your financial situation, your health, your happiness, you can't just tweak the user interface. You have to go in and rewrite the fundamental programming. All right, let's move up to that middle layer, conditional beliefs. These are basically the rules that grow out of your core beliefs. They create these automatic cause and effect links in your mind, and they operate on a very simple, if this happens, then that will happen kind of logic. You can see exactly how these rules guide your behavior. If your core belief is, I'm not worthy, a conditional belief might be, if I ask for a raise, then I'm going to be rejected. If you believe money is bad, you might have a rule that says, when I have a lot of money, then I'm going to lose my real friends. These are the automatic programs that run based on that core code. And finally, we get to the very top layer, surface beliefs. These are all the thoughts and opinions just floating around in your conscious mind. They might come from new information, the daily news, or a recommendation from a friend. They have very little emotional charge, they're not deeply rooted, and that's what makes them so easy to change. These are the kind of beliefs we talk about all the time. There are opinions about the market, about specific investments, or current economic trends. You might believe a certain stock is a great buy today, and then based on new information, you completely change your mind tomorrow. That is a surface belief. Now this slide right here brings it all together. Just look at the stark contrast. Surface beliefs, which is where affirmations live, are conscious, they're temporary, they have low emotional roots. Core beliefs are the exact opposite. They're subconscious, they're persistent, they are deeply emotional, and they are foundational to your entire reality. They're not even in the same league. And this is the answer to those questions we asked at the very beginning. See, repeating I am wealthy is a surface level action. But if your subconscious core belief is I am not worthy of success, which one do you think is going to win that fight? The master program will always override the temporary command. And this is why so many people get frustrated and just give up. So, we've seen how beliefs are formed and the different layers they exist in. The crucial takeaway is that only by accessing and rewriting the core beliefs can we create real, lasting change. In our next explainer, we're going to go even deeper and look at the fascinating process by which these core beliefs actually manifest as the physical, tangible results we see in our lives. If this was valuable for you, please share it with someone who might need to hear it. Make sure you follow so you don't miss the next part of this series, and please leave your questions in the comments. Thank you for investing this time in yourself. We'll see you next time.